This is not saying that every child we come across that's a little bit violent, you might have someone that's a bit more rugged, bit more rough, or wets the bed, is going to be a serial unaliver. We're not saying that, but understanding that some of these warning signs are there as warning signs, as caring educators or professionals that are involved in a child's life, that could impact them in later years. They could look back on those experiences and see them as positive experiences because they've looked and they've seen that someone has taken an interest in them, someone has been there to comfort them, someone has looked at them and said, maybe something's going on with you. And therefore the child looks back on that experience, or the person that's now grown looks back on that experience as a positive experience, as opposed to becoming a Richard Chase. Again, that's not us saying everybody that bedwets and is a little bit violent is going to be a Richard Chase, because he really is an anomaly. However, in Richard Chase's case, in his teenage years, he did continue to spiral out of control. He struggled with substances, including taking a bit of the devil's lettuce, but also LSD. He discovered also in his teenage years that he was impotent, which led to deep frustration and his inability to maintain relationships, because that is kind of an essential part of relationships for most people. That intimacy could be there, but because he was impotent, he couldn't follow through with what he wanted to do. So his mental health just continued to deteriorate further into his adulthood, and he developed unusual delusions, including the belief that his blood was turning to powder due to poisoning. Yeah, that's what he believed. And then in his early 20s, he was actually diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. This belief of the blood turning into powder drove him to engage in generally unthinkable behaviors. He started eating animal blood, consuming raw organs, and blending animal entrails into smoothies in a desperate, distorted effort to basically save his life. And the smoothies thing, I saw a picture of that and it was in black and white, but the thought of it still makes me feel sick. It's just knowing what that picture was a picture of is just grim. Ugh. Yeah. But he thought that was how he needed to save his life, because his blood was turning into powder because he'd been poisoned. I don't know who he thought poisoned him, but that's what he believed. His actions reflect textbook examples of untreated, severe mental illness. His distorted view of reality, fueled by his extreme paranoia and a failure of systems that are meant to support him, offer the classical look at how untreated schizophrenia can fragment someone's grip on reality. He was left to his own devices. Yes, he had that diagnosis, but essentially he wasn't treated.